remember when George W. Bush said that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, but there were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, like he was lying because he wanted a justification to go over there and start a war. So he was like, hey, Americans, see how we got God on our soil? We got to go over there and defend ourselves. He painted it as a defense against WMDs, even though we hit Iraq a million times harder than we were ever hit on 9/11. But he sent troops over there to murder a ton of civilians and destabilize the country. And he also wanted to make sure that like we dehumanize the civilians over there. So he painted all of Al Qaeda as being linked to all of Iraq, even though Al Qaeda is an outlying terrorist organization that in no way represents all of Iraq. And Islamophobia ran rampant at this time. It was practically encouraged because people wanted you to equate Muslim with terrorist in your mind, and they also wanted you to equate a lot of things about Muslim culture with terrorism. So, for example, the phrase Allahu Akbar was co-opted by terrorists, and so they were like, that always means death to Americans. It never has any other meaning. It always means death to Americans, even though there's a ton of Muslim people who say that phrase and in no way mean death to Americans. And then they also wanted to inextricably tie Christianity to the US government, right? Because we're good, God fearing Americans, and it is our God given right to go and spread the patriotism and in God we trust, like it's on the money. And so this was a clever rhetoric because it made criticizing the US government really hard, or criticizing Christianity really hard, or criticizing Islamophobia really hard. Like if anybody said, hey, that's Islamophobic and weird, and this Christianity that you're pushing with the government is weird, separation of church and state, they would go, that's anti-American, and you're defending terrorists because terrorists equals Muslim. And they kept trying to act like Iraq was going to come over here and take over our government, even though they did not have the capability to do so. But they were acting like they were going to steal our land, and it was crazy because they were saying this from stolen land.